Hi there. Happy Tuesday. I am doing my usual. I don't know why I always start my live like this. Oh, look, it's me. I'm in my car. Come talk to me. If you're new here, I'm Lindsay. I'm a certified trauma recovery coach. I specialize in recovery from abusive relationships, as I am also a survivor of abuse in specifically a queer relationship. And I like to come on at least once a week. Lately, I've been doing a little bit more just because I've been really active on TikTok, going live on TikTok with some of the things that are going on over there. But I wanted to start off welcoming my friends on Facebook and YouTube as well. I may hop off of there if TikTok gets a little bit too TikToky because we've got some specific things that we've been working through these last couple of days. So, but I'm here for now. And as always on my lives, you can feel free to ask me anything about abuse. I do have my topic on TikTok as problematic creators. So one of the things that I've been thinking about and talking about a lot lately is, how can we trust people who are putting information out on the internet that they're actually, who they say they are, and that we can trust them and that it's safe. And so that's something that might come up a lot during this live, just full disclosure. But as at any time, you can ask me anything if you're struggling with something in terms of recovering from an abusive relationship, or if you have a question about my services. Like I said, I'm a certified trauma recovery coach. I have a podcast, which I just recorded another episode of, and so I offer one-on-one coaching. My brain is not 100% organized right now, but you are all very welcome here. This is a safe space. Like I said, you can ask me anything. And I always do like to talk about other things too besides abuse. I'm a mom. I'm a single mom. I am a mom who travels and homeschools, and I co-parent. So there's so much that we can talk about. And it all sort of circles back to my pillars, I guess, because I'm a human and this is what we do. So you're straight now. You're supposed to be with a man of God, right? I don't even know where this is coming from. No, I'm not straight. Never was and never will be. And no, I don't want to be with a man of God. Do you have advice to stop doing self-harm? Unfortunately, I do not, because I have never done what we think of as traditional self-harm. Um, I have done self-sabotage. I have done things that we as a society don't necessarily understand as self-harm, like putting myself in bad situations and, drinking too much, or, I've done some like dangerous things when I was younger before I had kids and things like that, but I've never done the type of self-harm that I'm guessing that you're asking about. So if anybody in here has experienced self-harm and they feel like they would be willing to share some things that helped you with our friend, I will happily share them. If it's on TikTok, I will happily share them because I would love to be able to help you with that. What do you do to ground yourself in public if something is triggering? I have had things come up. I'll give you a perfect example. I was in Mexico last spring with my son and his dad. We don't usually travel together, but every once in a while we'll do a family trip. And this one, I really needed him to come. So we were there and we were walking by like sort of a mall, and I froze in my tracks, and he kept walking and he stopped and he turned around. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I am in Puerto Vallarta. I am not in Cancun. This is 2022. This is not 2021," because I had gone to Mexico with my abuser and it was not a good experience. It was a huge issue for me. And it was such a similar, just like a visual thing that like brought me back to that. And I just talked myself out of it. Like usually I wouldn't like publicly, like if I'm at work, I'm not going to be like, "You were at work, you were in the CalCert lab, you are safe." But if you're in a safe space, you can absolutely do that. And it's just like stopping, slowing down, and seeing what's around you and reminding yourself of where you are. And if you can name the trigger, like for example, like, okay, this is reminding you of when you were in Mexico trapped with an abusive person. That is horrifying. You're not there now. You are safe. Your son is right there. Look at him. He's so cute. So again, naming things around you, even if it's just in your head, naming the trigger and trying to take his power away. And I know that's sometimes like easier said than done. But over time, that's the goal of, when we talk about like getting over abuse and trauma and things like that, we never forget it. It doesn't just go away, although you can definitely like dissociate and bury trauma and things like that. But we take the power away from the trigger. And so that's the goal over time, is to just train your brain to recognize the trigger and be like, "I see you. And also I'm okay right now." Thank you for asking. That was a great question. Hi, I just wanted to say thanks. Your content has helped me a lot. Thank you so much. That really means a lot to me. I always appreciate that. And I'm glad that you found me. Thank you, Kels. Hi, welcome in. I didn't see you pop in. Genuinely curious your thoughts on how to respond to smear campaigns. And I'm so glad you asked because I was planning to I was going to type a response to your question on my video. And then I was like, I wanted to do a whole video about this. I have talked a lot about smear campaigns. I'm a huge, it's weird because as a trauma recovery coach and as a creator, I have I'm just going to call them pillars for lack of a better word, things that I really focus on. I do talk about a lot of things, but it's like pets, children. One of the things that I really feel strongly about with smear campaigns is that you don't do anything at all. You don't do anything at all. And it's very hard. And I believe, if you don't mind me saying that you said something like, what do you do? Like the smear campaign is coming. Like, what do we do with this? Because it's very scary. And I remember being scared for a long time, like, oh, they're going to say this about me, or they're going to tell people this, they're going to tell people that, and those people aren't going to like me. Well, guess what? I don't talk to any of those people anymore. I don't care about any of those people. I didn't actually want to be around any of those people. And it's hard because an abusive person can try to turn your family against you, try to turn your friends against you. They can, try to get your job to fire you. They can go all out with this stuff. If you have a public platform, they will try to smear you in public. They'll do whatever they can. And what it comes down to is, I'll give you an example. My abuser was telling people something that I did. It's almost a true story. It's something that I did when I was lashing out in reactive abuse. I'm also very passionate about reactive abuse and mutual abuse, the myth of mutual abuse. I've talked a lot about those things. And in that, they took it, twisted it, and told people that I did something that I never did. And someone told me, and the person who told me believed me and believed my story because it was the person whose wife was being taken away. His wife was the new supply. And he believed me. But he's like, yeah, the soon-to-be ex-wife told me that the abuser was saying this. And I was like, I knew they would say that. And that's all I said. I didn't say, oh my God, I never did that. I would never do that. That's not my problem. You can tell people what you want to tell people. Someday, hopefully, whoever is around you will start to see who you are for real. It's not my job to smear that person back or to defend myself. If anyone comes around you, Kelsey, and believes them over you, you don't need to be around that person anyway. Like, say, for example, this person tells your mom that you smacked them. If your mom is wise, she'll be like, no, I know my kid didn't do that. If she's unsure, she could call you and be like, they told me that you smacked them, but I feel like that's not true. I just wanted to tell you that this was going on. Do you want to have a conversation? And they're open to it. But if your mom is like, yeah, she sucks, I'm sure she did, and is supporting your abuser, you probably shouldn't be around your mom, right? This is what it comes down to is the people who are going to believe that abusive person aren't worth defending yourself to. So I 100% stand by this when it comes to the smear campaign. Know that it probably is going to happen. Know that it's probably going to be bad, and that anyone believes them isn't worth being around anyway. Just let it happen. Let it slide off it's impossible. It feels impossible because when we know we didn't do something, we just want to be understood. And as survivors, as the actual genuine victims in these situations, we want people to understand us and our story. I came to realize that people weren't going to understand my reality because the smear campaign begins way before you leave. My guess is that when you leave an abusive person, they started planting those seeds a year ago, 2 years ago. They start telling your friends that you're crazy, that every time you go out, you do X, Y, Z. I believe I have a whole podcast episode about this, Kelsey. So if you haven't listened to it, I believe I have one that's called the smear campaign started before you ever left or something before, right when you met them or something like that. So definitely check that out. Things that personally help ground me: Vapo Rub for the scent or sour candies for taste. I like that so much, and thank you for sharing that. That's another thing to think about because, again, that strong scent. It can be anything. It can be lavender. It could be like Vapo Rub. Yeah, absolutely. Very strong scent that your brain is going to be like, okay, I'm focused on this. And it helps to calm your nervous system and bring it out of that fight or flight state. And sour candies, yes, absolutely. You're sitting here going, oh my gosh, or like eat a pickle or something. Amazing advice, Lindsay. Thank you so much. Hi, I haven't seen you in here for a very long time. How are you? I've made my mantra. My character is solid and will be known. I love that. Yes, I love that. That's powerful. Thank you, Lindsay. I have had a lot of visual triggers recently, and when I have auditory triggers, I usually walk away from the area if possible. I love that. Walking away is so important. Because sometimes, if it is so powerful and, sometimes if it's so powerful, you can't even move, like someone else might have to come help you. But if you can just remove yourself from it, that's a big thing. Okay, I could benefit so much from trauma recovery. Thank you for saying that again, because I just realized that I missed your original comment was that you were curious, intrigued. So I'm a certified trauma recovery coach. I got certified through the International Association of Trauma Recovery Coaching. I decided last January when I first started making videos about my own experience and realizing that I wanted to help people, but I wanted to do it in a way that was professional versus me just coming out here and being like, my ex did this, my ex did that. Because like, that's not my goal. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not here to trash them. Like, they're going to trash themselves. Like, that's their problem, right? And I wanted to learn more about my own trauma and my own healing and things like that. So I did my research. I liked the program. I liked the way that it was set up. I liked the founders of the program, and I got certified in last summer. And so I have been offering one-on-one coaching since then. Sometimes I do group coaching. Sometimes I do some other things. I'm currently structuring a sort of workshop type thing. I'll go ahead and say it. It's going to be about hoovering. It's going to be about like how to spot hoovering, the different types of hoovering, why, how to avoid it, all of that stuff, because I feel like this is a very huge struggle for people who leave. It was for me. I'll share examples. We'll talk about them. We'll support each other, things like that. So I do a lot with it. Right now I'm doing a lot with it. But if you're interested in booking a session with me, you can go to my website, lindsaygoodman.com. And you'll see I have 30-minute sessions, I have 60-minute sessions, and I have 6-week packages as well. So just depending what you want to do, if you're just like, I just need a little bit of validation, I'm just going to meet with you one time to make sure I'm not crazy. Or if you really want to put in the work, I've had several people lately sign up for the 6-week package because they're ready to put in the work and learn about this and, be armed to be able to protect themselves from having this crap happen again. Great therapeutic advice. Anything that engages your senses in a direct way is 3. Yeah, thumbs up. Absolutely. Tell me about your worst enemy. I do not have an enemy. I don't have time for that. Where do I sign up, please? Okay, well, hold on. My enemies are homophobes, transphobes, because I am a queer person, if you don't know this. And I am not trans, but I am a trans ally, and I will not like you if you're transphobic, period. So you can go ahead and hop off of here if you're transphobic. I'm starting to talk about this a little bit more because it's starting to come up a little bit more in my lives and things like that, because when I first had a platform, before I ever had Facebook or YouTube, I was on TikTok and I was on Instagram, and I was very obviously queer. I was making a lot of content about coming out late. I was making content showing my partner, my abuser, when I didn't know they were my abuser, sharing my life and things like that. And so people knew that I was queer. But now, most of my content is not queer specific because I don't want to exclude anyone who is being abused or has been abused and could use some help. So a lot of people don't know that I'm queer. And now, just with everything that's going on in the world, I will absolutely be throwing that in a lot more, because a lot is going on right now to take away the rights of trans people. And I think that's fucked up. So I will be talking about that a lot more. Like I said, if you don't like it, bye. Where do I sign up for this? Again, the lindsaygoodman.com is my website. All the information is there if you click on the coaching tab. it'll bring you to my Calendly, which is going to have my availability, and it will have all the information for like pricing and, you know, what package do you want and things like that. I'm good. I've been working on building trust with myself. That is so important and also a huge part of healing from your trauma, and also making sure that those kinds of people, abusive people, can't have access to us. Because when we trust ourselves and we trust our intuition, which is very hard to do, especially when most of us grew up with childhood emotional neglect and trauma, we don't really trust our intuition. We ignore it. We make ourselves sick, or our environment makes us sick because we're trying so hard to like do what we've been told we need to do and things like that. And then just like trusting ourselves and feeling confident with ourselves is such a huge, I think, breakthrough in our healing. Anytime I've gotten close to dealing with my childhood, I feel like I run in the opposite direction. Childhood trauma. It's very scary, and it's a lot. I made a TikTok the other day that was like something like, it was a silly sound bite from, what's that show called? Schitt's Creek. And the mom is like sitting at a desk, and the guy's like, hello, I'd like to check in. And she's like, where did you come from? And he's like, I said hello twice. And she says, oh, well, hello then. And I talk about how, as I began to heal from my abusive relationship and I did all of that work, essentially I was like scooping out this crap that was in here. I'm scooping it out and I'm getting it out of the way. And like, have you ever seen like a video of someone digging a well, and they're digging and they're removing the dirt, and all of a sudden water just gushes up from the ground, right? That's that childhood trauma that's been buried for so long that you didn't even know you had. Like, I did not even know half of the childhood trauma. And of course, we're always going to keep finding things. We're going to keep digging because it is vast and scary, and we've spent our whole lives hiding from it, running from it essentially. And so it bubbles, it creates room for more things to bubble up in you, more pain that you have spent your entire life running from. And it is bold and brave and scary to say no. Instead of turning away from this pelting rain that is the trauma that's like physically harming me, I'm going to cover my face and turn away from it. I'm going to walk right into this freaking hurricane, and I'm going to do it. And you don't have to do it today. You don't have to do it tomorrow. You can take it little by little, but it is a very scary choice. So please know that you're not alone in that. And yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Hi, Kat. Welcome in. If comfy, could you talk about the different types of narcissistic abuse, early stages, and how they differ? Like covert versus other types of and warning signs. I can try my best. Oh no. I lost my connection on TikTok. Let's see if everyone else is still here. Yep, we're still good. Okay, I will let them try to circle back. It's taking forever. Okay, yeah, we still have the red light. So if anyone on YouTube or Facebook wants to ask me a question while we're waiting, now is your time. Now is your moment. Seize the day. Oh, I should really have this in low power mode. It's already on low power mode. Oh no, anyone else lose connection? Great. Can anybody see me? I might just have to start that one again. That's really unfortunate. Sorry, y'all are still here, so I apologize so much. YouTube is working, thank you. And on Facebook, I don't know what happened. It just like knocked me off. Sometimes TikTok will disconnect, and I know it can be really annoying when you're on one platform and something's going on another platform, and I'm like fussing with it. So I appreciate the patience. But yeah, sometimes TikTok will like boot me off for a couple of seconds and then come back. But that time it was just like, I'm done with you. So it's going green again. We'll see if anyone else comes in. I can still see you. Thank you so much, Michelle. Take your time. Thank you. I really appreciate that. That y'all know that I'm a human and technology is what it is. But I'm really hoping that the people who are in here on TikTok come back, because they were asking me really good questions. Not that y'all aren't. I know a lot of people like to come into my lives and just watch and listen and learn. And, you know, you're not able to be, you know, responding to every single thing, but I'm still very glad you're here. So, okay, you're back. All right. I saw your comment that said that you were sobbing and you're so glad that you found my live. So thank you so much for saying that. I'm so glad that you're here as well. And I really hope that whatever happens today in this live, that is helpful and it's just what you needed. And that if coaching works out for you, that we can get working, because it blows my mind. It still blows my mind that I'm here and that I'm doing this and that people do trust me and want to learn from me. It means a lot to me. And it's still just so like mind-boggling when someone will see a video of mine and say, this literally just happened to me last night, or say like, I just stumbled on your live like right when XYZ happened. It's just like, it gives me chills. So okay, good. I want to circle back to your question. I was hoping that you would come back, and I was hoping that everyone would find me again. I'm so sorry that happened. I'm very thankful that my friends on YouTube and Facebook were being super chill about it too. My friend Jenna is in an argument. Can you say I support Jenna's side? Oh no, Sure, I support Jenna's side. I don't know either of them. I don't know what good that's going to do, but there you go. We can wait for you all day. Thank you so much. That is so kind of you. All right, so let's talk about, the question was covert versus overt narcissism. Is that correct? Okay. I want to say something before I start talking about this, is that, so when I first started creating content about abuse, I was always using the word narcissist, and I moved away from that because there's such a craziness around the word narcissist these days, where one, it's overused. People don't really understand what it is. People are having breakups and accusing each other of being narcissists, or like my friend's such a narcissist because like they XYZ. I don't like that. I don't like the way that people online will say that like we're stigmatizing narcissism by talking about it and stuff like that. I don't agree. I think that yes, it is a mental health condition. It's a personality disorder. But also, if you're abusing someone, then you waive your right to be not to be respected. I have never called a narcissist a monster, even though they do monstrous things. Like, I'm not out here demonizing narcissists, never have, never will. That's not my goal. My goal is to educate, to validate, to help you hopefully get out of your situation. Hi, everyone on TikTok that's coming in now. Hello. So not everybody is a narcissist. There are people who display abusive tendencies, narcissistic tendencies, who are not narcissists, who do not have narcissistic personality disorder, right? And not every single narcissist is going to be abusive if they are self-aware, and or if they are in a place where they just simply don't have supply. The odds are, if you are in a relationship where you're trying to have some sort of connection with a narcissistic person, your mom, your dad, your sibling, your partner, you are going to have a hard time, and you're going to experience these abuse tactics that they put on you. All of that to say, I like to use the word coercive control because it encompasses all of this. And I think it's much more, not everyone is using that. So it gets away from all the trolls. And I think that people are less likely to pick up on it as a buzzword and say, that person's a coercive controller, right? Because narcissist is just a thing now. There's songs about it and all of that. So it's very unfortunate that has become like a trend or fad. That was just a little offshoot. We're still going to use that word when appropriate, right? I was drowning trying to diagnose my ex. I finally figured out abuse is abuse, narc or not. I'm so glad you said that. I am so glad you said that. We spend a lot of time, and I did too. I wanted to know what kind of narcissist they were. This one, a little bit of that one, and a newsflash, they can be a couple of both. And I really wanted them to get diagnosed. I really wanted them to go and be seen and to have that validation, because when you're experiencing, you want this solid answer. But the truth is, like you said, abuse is abuse. So I always tell people, they want to know, if my partner does this, are they narcissists? Go to the hotline.org and look at each type of abuse. And if they are doing these things to you, like obviously just not one of them, obviously not if it's just like once in a blue moon, because we're human. We get triggered and we, call you a name. Hopefully you're learning to not do that, right? But we're human. And you can do an abusive thing without being an abusive person and without being a narcissist or whatever. But if someone is doing these things over and over, day in, day out, they're gaslighting you, they're manipulating you, you're going in these, like, it's a cycle of abuse over and over and over again. Doesn't matter what the hell they are. To this day, I don't know. My abuser could be a psychopath or a sociopath. Like I said, I've researched all of them. They could be any, they could be all, they could be both, they could be all, something else completely. They're an abusive person. And that is all that matters. And so yes, absolutely. I'm glad you said that. And I want you all to know that. And to remember that, because we get so caught up in it, we get lost in it, and we lose the point, which is that they are abusive, they're abusing us, and they don't deserve to have access to us anymore. And we need to do whatever we can to claw our freaking way out of these dangerous situations, right? Rather than worrying about them. If later on down the road you want to study narcissism for yourself just to understand it, great, do it. Because it did help me a lot to be able to understand what I went through. But yeah, having a diagnosis isn't going to change anything. I experienced covert narcissistic abuse while my cousin experienced malignant. They were very different while at the same time had a lot in common. Pretty sure my mom's a narcissist and my dad's an enabler. That's very common. A lot of times a narcissistic parent has that enabling parent, and it's very unfortunate for the children because it's a hard way to grow up. So with a covert, okay, so malignant narcissist is one of the subtypes. So there's it's actually really confusing. Some places, some studies will say there's 5 types or 4 or 6 types or whatever. So there's covert and overt abuse, covert and overt narcissism, whatever. And there are subtypes of narcissism. You've got malignant, you've got sexual, you've got communal, you've got, I'm not going to be able to rattle them all off the top of my head, but they're all very different. There's a vulnerable narcissist, which can also be called malignant. And so each of those are going to have, like you said, people will say textbook narcissism, and we all start to recognize, people will see someone describing this type of abuse and say, I feel like you're talking about me, which is what happened with me when I first started learning about this. I feel like you're talking about me. I feel like you're telling my story. And so, yes, they're all people say, oh my gosh, did we date the same person? Are they all learning from the same handbook? Unfortunately, they probably all experienced extreme childhood emotional neglect and or abuse, and also probably coddled in other ways. And there's other ways that your parent was a narcissist, things like that. So they all developed the same coping mechanisms, which is to abuse people. They all developed the same coping mechanism. So yes, they all are the same, but they're also not exactly the same, because they could be malignant or they could be communal. So I recently made a video it's on YouTube and TikTok about the communal narcissist, which is someone who's going to be very public in the public eye. They are helping people and giving back to the community and have these just causes, and they're raising money, and they want to be seen as changing the world, and they're very public about, society's issues and things like that, drawing a lot of attention to how good they are. That's a communal narcissist. So that's just an example of one of the subtypes of narcissism. In terms of covert and overt, the overt abusive person is going to say shit to you and they don't care. They're going to covert too, right? Let's give an example of say early on, an overt abuser, you go out, you're on your 3rd date, you go out to eat, and they say something like, you're not getting the salad, or you're not getting the fish and chips because you're a little bit too big for that. I apologize if I triggered anyone with that, because I realize that that can be obviously something that people are abused about from childhood. So I apologize, but I apologize. And that's the example I came up with. I'm so sorry if that triggered you. But they're going to say something just really shitty to you. I don't like the dress you wore today. Don't wear that next time. It's just really just uncomfortable and horrible. And they don't care. They don't care if they look like a dick. I'm using dick. I realize that's usually used for men. They don't care if they look like a horrible person. They're just going to say it, and you're just going to deal with it, right? A covert narcissist, sneaky AF. Sneaky. You don't see it coming. Eventually they'll say those things to you, absolutely, but it's still just it's really sneaky. It's very hard to spot. It's getting much easier to spot because people are talking about it. And for example, now when I see covert abuse, I mean, when I see it, if you're telling me something, I'm gonna respond to what you're telling me. I only know what you're telling me in this moment. But if I see an apology video from someone, and I'm seeing the blame shifting, the gaslighting, the projection, all of that stuff, it's hard. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. I hope that helps. I know that was kind of a lot. If you have any more specific questions about that, I'm happy to. Oh, I lost Facebook.